Well, hey there everybody. Today we're going to be making this really easy and beautiful fall card with our Cricut machine. So this project is super easy to do, but it looks really beautiful. So let's cover the supplies you're going to need in order to make this craft. So you're going to need a Cricut machine. You can use any of the full-size machines. Even the Cricut Joy will work because we are using kind of small cutouts here, but you will need to scale your card down to a size that fits on the Joy machine if you go that route. Otherwise, any full-size machine will work. You're going to need to have a Cricut mat, so I'm using the light blue grip mat. You can also use the standard grip green mat as well. I'll be using 3D foam strip tape to add some elevation to my design here. So I like to mix the tape and some liquid glue. This is the Barely Art glue that works well with paper. So I like to use the 3D foam strip tape to add some dimension and elevation. And then I like to use the precision glue to tuck things in once I kind of get the base of it going there. You're also going to need to have either a scoring wheel or a scoring stylus to score down the center of our card so we can fold it nice and easy. I like to have a weeding tool on hand because it comes in handy to get the paper backs off of the 3D foam strip tape. You may need to have a pair of scissors to trim the tape down. If you plan to write a message with the help of your Cricut machine, then you're going to need some sort of pen in order to write that. You can type out whatever you want for your personal message there. And you may also want to have a brayer tool to push your material to your mat. That's really helpful. And for our primary material, we're going to be using cardstock, glitter cardstocks, or metallic foil poster board. So these here are from the Cricut brand. That's the one I'm using in this video here. They make lots of pretty glitter cardstocks, foil poster boards that cut well on the Cricut, and then your solid colored cardstocks as well. I've done a lot of the solid colors here, and then I strategically placed the glitter and the metallic here where I wanted them to go. All right, that's it. So let's go ahead and make this craft. Okay, so this is just a quick look at how I would put this together here in Design Space. So all of these are Design Space images and fonts, and I'm just gonna set this over to the side here. I'm gonna group it, and then I'm gonna hide this, and I'm gonna show you how I created that. So first we need to create a card base here. I'm gonna grab a free shape from the Shapes panel. I'm just gonna grab a square. And I want my card to be 5 by 5 once it's folded and complete. So up here at the top of the edit bar where that little lock icon is, I want you to unlock it. And the height, we're gonna make 5 inches. And then because we want the completed card to be 5 by 5, we need to make this 10 inches. So once it's folded, it will be 5 inches by 5 inches. So just like that. So 10 by 5 if you would like the result of a 5 by 5 card, and you could adjust this accordingly as you would like. I'm going to go ahead and change the color here to just a yellow. What we're going to do here is we're going to add a score line as well because we want to be able to score down the center of the card so we get a nice crisp fold. So returning to the Shapes panel, I'm going to click on the free score line. I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm just going to increase the size. And then I'm going to click and drag over the score line and our large rectangle, and we're going to go up to Align and Center, and that's just going to ensure that that score line is precisely center between those two squares that we just welded. We also need to make sure that score line stays exactly there. So in order to do that, we need to click and drag again over the score line and the rectangle and use our attach tool at the bottom of the layers panel. That's just going to ensure that it's actually going to score exactly where we need it to. Now we're going to start with the circle next for the text part. This is optional and you could put any message you want on there, but I'm going to go back to that Shapes panel and just grab a circle, which is free. And I'm going to scale this up. I think I'm going to aim for about 3 inches, 3.1 maybe in size. Let's go ahead and change the color here. I'm going to change it to like a cream. And if you want to customize your colors, you would just come over here and click on Advanced, and you can choose any color you would like of the rainbow. So now I'm going to add my text. I'm going to click on my text tool in the Design panel over here. I'm going to type out Happy Thanksgiving. You could do Happy Fall, Happy Autumn, Welcome Autumn, whatever message you want to do there. And then I'm going to change the font by clicking on that font menu. And I'm going to select a different font here. I'm not really sure which font I'm going to choose. Let's just pick I'm going to choose this Backyard Garden font here. Okay, and then what we need to do now is we need to change it from a cut line operation to a pen drawing operation, because we're going to be using a pen, not a fine point blade, to cut this out. And then we also need to go to the writing here, and we need to change it to writing style, because if you look right now, it looks like bubble letters, and that's not what we want. So Cricut will provide for their fonts, for specific fonts of theirs, you will be able to select the writing style, which will achieve this here. So I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to ungroup to lines, just so I can move these around individually, because I want to scale the Thanksgiving down a little bit. About like that. I like to just kind of eyeball it, but if you want to use your align tool and sort of center things up, you can of course do that. For me, I'm pretty happy with that. So what I need to do at this point is I need to make sure that this writing text is attached to the circle, because right now if we try and cut this out, it's going to cut the circle on a mat and then try and write the words on a separate mat. So again, we need to click and drag over all of that and use our attach tool at the bottom of the layers panel to hold that placement of our pen along with our circle there for our writing. Okay, the next step is just to pick out our leaves and to add them to our canvas. So I did use Design Space imagery for the leaves. I'm going to click over to Images in the Design panel, and I just typed in fall leaves, but that's not how you spell leaves. There we go. Or fall leaf can also yield similar results. I selected this one here, and then I also selected this one, this one, this one. I think I selected this set as well. So if you're a Cricut Access subscriber, you'll get access to all of these types of leaves. And if there's a different concept you want to apply, go ahead and search for that image here. I'm just going to hit cancel because I already have all of these imported on my canvas here. For my example, I'm going to bring this back real quick and zoom out. So all I've done here with these leaves is I've basically just duplicated them a bunch of times and sort of placed them in a wreath-like fashion. Now it's not going to cut out like this exactly because we're going to be cutting out each one of these in its own color. But if you wanted to change up the colors here of these leaves, you could just come in here and, you know, pick a different color. Let's say maybe I want to add like a really deep purple or something to the mix. That could be pretty. It would change the colors here. So it could be something like that, for example. And you would just duplicate them and sort of play with the scaling and the sizing of them to give yourself an idea if you've created enough. So to scale, you would come to any one of these corners, click and drag up or down, or if we need to rotate, hover outside of a corner and then move your up or down, and it'll rotate it any direction you would like as well. So just pick out the leaves that you want and get an idea size-wise and color-wise what you want it to represent for the colors of paper that you'll be cutting out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this one back over here. Let's hide this since it's a duplication. Hiding it, my layers panel there. Make sure you save your project so that you can always just open this right back up and create it again, and you don't have to worry about redoing any of the setup or the designing aspects of this. And now it's time to go ahead and click on the Make It button at the top. And if you get this pop up for one of the newer machines, it's just asking, are you cutting on a mat or are you using smart materials? Are you making a card? That kind of stuff. We will be using a mat here in this case, so just click on that. If you don't get that pop up, it might just go straight to this screen here, which is fine. And it's going to show us all the colors we need to cut out here. So we'll have to cut out each of the colors of our leaves that we decided on. This mat here is going to write and then cut. And then this mat here is going to score and then cut our card out. So we would click continue at the bottom and we would connect to our machine. Once we're connected to our machine, you're just going to need to search for the materials that you want. So I'm using a glitter cardstock. I'm also using a foil poster board. You can also find medium weight cardstocks in here. So if you're looking for like cardstocks in general, just try typing the word cardstock in, and you'll find a lot of different options there. Or if you're using the foil poster board like me, you can find that also as well. And you would just make that selection and click done. And now it's time to go ahead and cut this out and load our material. All right, so I'm gonna start by placing my cardstock onto my mat here, and you might want to use your brayer tool to roll it on. Get that material stuck down nice and well. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and load up my machine here, and I'm going to press that double arrow flashing button to load the mat. And then Cricut's going to take a second to scan the mat here to make sure it's long enough. And then it's going to start flashing this play icon, or it might look like a Cricut C icon. That is your go button, or in order to tell Cricut to proceed with the cut, you're going to have to click on that when it starts flashing. And then Cricut will go ahead and start cutting out our material. So now I'm going to go ahead and flip my mat over to peel away our mat from our material. So I'm going to take off these little leaves nice and careful. One of them got stuck there in the corner. There we go. And then we would just repeat this for any of the colors that you want to do for your particular fall leaves, okay? So if you decide to write a personalized message on your card, you're going to go ahead and pick that color cardstock that you want. I recommend just a solid cardstock in that case. And you're going to place that onto your mat. And then you're going to need to grab your pen. So Cricut makes lots of different pens. I'm using a calligraphy pen here to kind of make it like a thicker result. But you could also use their gel pens, and they have lots of other ones as well, fine point ones. And you're gonna see a little arrow on your pen when that pen cap is open. Just place it on the back side here. You're gonna place this tip down, and you wanna make sure when you press it into clamp A that arrow disappears, and check that it's not lifting out. If you are using a calligraphy style pen like I am, you're gonna notice that the tip is kind of flat looking if you look close at it. Make sure it's pointing out at a 45-degree angle for the best result possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up clamp A in my machine here. I'm looking at that arrow tip here. I'm just gonna place that in clamp A and push it down gently until the arrow disappears, and then close it up. Just wiggle your pen just to make sure that nothing is gonna pop out on you and it is properly secured. And now we can go ahead and load our mat here. Our Cricut is going to write first and then cut a circle around this. All right, so our Cricut is going to town and it is writing for us, and then it's gonna cut out that design. So all we need to do is just get the rest of our leaves cut out and get our card template cut out, and then have our Cricut write this, and we'll begin to assemble all of these pieces. All right, so I'm gonna take my pen out now that that's done. And then also for the base of the card here, where we're gonna have our score line, you can use the scoring stylus, or if you have the maker model, one of the maker models, it has a scoring wheel. I'm just gonna feature the stylus here since I know that everyone will have access to that. I'm gonna place the stylus into clamp A just like we did the pen, and then close it. And then we'll go ahead and load the paper for the base of our card. It's gonna score a line and then cut out the square. Okay, so we have all of our pieces cut out here, and I decided to cut some of these leaves out in some different sizes just to have plenty on hand to work with. You don't have to do that, or you can really build it up if you'd like. So here is the base of our card, and we have a score line going down the center here. So I'm just gonna fold along that score line and get it creased there. There we go. So this is gonna be the front of my card here, and it'll open out. So we're gonna work from here. What I want to do first is I kind of just want to get an idea of the placement a little bit. It's going to kind of come off, but I just want to see that I'm kind of positioning things to where, you know, the colors are varying and things are getting sort of spread out nicely. I would use the larger leaves on the bottom and then the slightly smaller ones on the top. So I'm kind of just trying to evenly distribute the colors here to give myself an idea. Okay, so that's what we're kind of aiming for there. It's going to be sort of a circular fashion. This is what's going to go on top of it here. And I'm going to be using the 3D foam strip tape here to actually tape all these on because I want them to look kind of elevated. But if you don't want them to look elevated, you can just stick with like a precision glue. So I use Barely Art glitter glue, so that is an option for you as well. So I'm going to kind of push this top half up here, this bottom half down here to give myself an idea. I'm going to go ahead and get these foam strip tapes going here. And I'm just going to flip a bunch of these over. And then I'm just trimming down some of this tape here. Alright, and I'm going to use my weeding tool here just to pick the paper backs off of our foam strip tape here. It can be a little hard to do with your finger, so using a weeding tool is very handy. Okay, so at this point I'm going to start placing these on. I'm going to start with the bigger ones here and kind of just get those placed first. we just have to add on our Happy Thanksgiving centerpiece here. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add some more of that foam strip tape here. Alright, so I'm just going to hover this and get it stuck on there, just like that. Now, I did save my metallic and my glitter cutouts for the end, and you don't have to go that route, but the reason I chose to is I wanted to be very strategic with where these ones went, because I wanted them to stand out in all the right spots. So once I get sort of the majority of this in, I come in and I tuck these where I really want them to show. So I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to take a little bit of, at this point I'm using glue. You could use the strip tape, but at this point I'm choosing to use glue because I'm basically going to be sliding these in to very specific spots. Right about there. And I'm going to slide this one in right here, tuck it in. That's why it's easier to use glue at this point, because I'm being very strategic with how I'm tucking these very special glitter and metallic ones. Again, you don't have to do this exact process, but this is what works for me because I want it to turn out a certain way. Right. There we go. And I find if I'm tucking some of these leaf pieces in that have the little tails at this point, those become irrelevant, so I just sort of pull them off. So here is our really beautiful fall card. This is just made with layers of leaves that we cut out in paper on our Cricut machine. You could personalize it with any message you like. You could layer it with the 3D foam strip tape to add more dimension, or just go straight up glue, or mix it like I did. It didn't take much time at all to create this, and it's a really beautiful handmade card for the fall season to give to somebody. If you need supplies and resources, make sure you visit the link below this video. These leaf templates were from Cricut Design Space, and there's all of my resources for the paper and everything I used are also linked below for you. I'll see you there. Bye for now.